Imagine waking up one morning and realizing the United States just switched into a monetary environment designed to unleash one of the largest liquidity waves of your lifetime. No income tax, zero interest rates, a crypto-friendly Federal Reserve chairman with direct ties to Coinbase, a complete stop to quantitative tightening, and rate cuts kicking in faster than anyone expected. That combination alone is enough to send global markets into orbit. And right now, it's not a hypothetical. It's happening in real time. Welcome back to my channel, XRP Daily Brief. What we're witnessing right now is not just a shift. It is a systemic transition, a chain reaction of political, economic, and monetary signals lining up all at once. This is the kind of setup that precedes massive bull cycles. This is the kind of background that makes institutions wake up, reallocate capital, and reposition for the next phase. People who don't understand macro think this is noise. People who do understand macro know this is the beginning of something big. Let's go deeper. Trump has now said publicly that the United States may soon eliminate federal income tax in the not-too-distant future. This is not a small fiscal proposal. It is a seismic shift. Imagine tens of millions of Americans suddenly keeping more of their paycheck. Imagine corporations reallocating capital, families increasing spending, and the entire flow of money in the economy accelerating. Money velocity is one of the most powerful forces in financial markets. When velocity goes up, risk appetite goes up. When risk appetite goes up, capital chases returns. And when capital chases returns, the first assets to move are risk-on assets. Crypto isn't just a part of that category, so it is the category. It is the most liquidity-sensitive asset class in the world. But the fiscal side is only the first spark. On the monetary side, Trump directly attacked Jerome Powell, calling him incompetent and truly stupid. There's no subtlety here. This is a message to markets. Powell's time is ending. When a potential president says this publicly, investors don't wait for elections to react. Capital begins preparing for the next monetary era immediately. And Trump's chosen replacement? Kevin Hassett, a man who has advocated repeatedly for zero interest rates, fast easing, and aggressive monetary stimulus. A man who has literally advised Coinbase. This is not an accident. This is not random. This is a candidate who understands digital assets, understands tokenization, understands liquidity corridors, and understands how crypto integrates into global markets. Prediction markets have now pushed his odds above 80%. And if you've watched prediction markets over the past 5 years, you know, when a candidate crosses 70%, the smart money starts behaving as if they're already in the job. But let's step back and talk about the most important piece of all. The Federal Reserve has stopped quantitative tightening. Let me explain this properly because most people overlook its significance. Quantitative tightening, QT, is the process of removing liquidity from the financial system. It is literally the Fed draining money out of the economy to cool things down. Stopping QT means the drainage stops. Liquidity stops shrinking, and historically, once QT stops. The next step is liquidity expansion. Look at the last decade. 2012, QT paused, crypto began rising. 2016, QT paused. Bitcoin and Ethereum set up the next bull cycle. 2020, QT paused. The entire crypto market went parabolic. Every major explosive run in crypto history began with this exact type of shift. Stop draining liquidity, stabilize, begin easing, markets ignite. And now, on top of that, we may see rate cuts in just 8 days. 8, not 8 months. 8 days. If you combine a QT stop with rapid rate cuts, you get one of the rarest monetary environments that exists: cheap liquidity and expanding liquidity at the same time. This is the perfect storm for risk assets. This is the moment when hedge funds shift from defensive positioning to risk-on positioning. This is when dormant capital wakes up. This is when crypto, historically, moves faster than anything else. Now here's where things get even more interesting. Analysts say that under a Hassett-led Fed, The Dow Jones could break 50,000, and gold could push beyond $5,000 per ounce. Why? Because zero interest rates force capital outward. If earning money in a savings account or holding cash yields nothing, investors look elsewhere. Equities go up, commodities go up, large cap tech explodes, and crypto, which thrives in liquidity-rich environments, becomes one of the biggest beneficiaries. But XRP specifically sits in a unique position. XRP does not rely on retail hype. XRP does not rely on influencer excitement. XRP relies on three things: liquidity, regulation, institutional alignment. And right now, all three factors are forming at the same time. Liquidity, QT is over. Rate cuts incoming. A zero-rate Fed candidate awaits. Regulation, the US is shifting tone. Singapore, Japan, and the UK are rolling out frameworks that support tokenization and digital assets. Institutional alignment, Europe, Asia, and the US are preparing for a transition toward tokenized settlement systems, exactly where XRP fits. People forget that XRP was designed for this kind of environment: high liquidity flow, cross-border volume, institutional settlement, utility-driven use cases. When the system becomes flush with cheap liquidity and institutions begin rotating into efficient settlement technologies, XRP becomes extremely attractive. Bitcoin benefits from speculation. Ethereum benefits from DeFi liquidity cycles. But XRP benefits when institutions expand payment rails, when governments embrace tokenization, when global liquidity spikes, and when monetary policy accelerates. And guess what? All of those forces are aligning right now. This is why XRP's slow price action doesn't worry long-term investors. XRP has always moved later, but harder. 2017, late but vertical. 2020 to 2021, late but explosive. This is a historical pattern tied to liquidity waves. When liquidity expands, speculative assets jump first. Bitcoin takes the first wave. Ethereum takes the second. Altcoins take the third. And XRP takes the late cycle macro wave, which is often the biggest wave of all. Now imagine all of this happening in a world where income tax disappears, where the Fed resumes zero interest policies, where liquidity floods the system, where a crypto-friendly Fed chair takes control, where global jurisdictions are aligning their digital asset laws, where institutions are preparing their tokenized infrastructure. This is not a normal cycle. This is not a normal moment. This is the beginning of a macro liquidity supercycle. You don't get setups like this often. Some generations never see them. And right now, we are in one. Stay sharp, stay aware, and get ready, because the next few weeks could be some of the most important moments in the entire history of digital assets.